and he is so wealthy.
Maybe that will explain where the money is from. But before then, I'm in charge of Maryland, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Delaware, and stop smiling. And
stop that. If you are watching me, I owe this guy success in my IELTS. I owe it to this guy. If you've been on my channel for a while and you watched how I passed my IELTS at my first try, the video, I mentioned his name in the video, and I'll insert the clip. I was fortunate enough. I had loads of study materials from a guy I worked with during my national service. Shout out to you, Hilary. Don't do, God bless your soul. I didn't have to go for any classes or any lessons or training whatsoever. I studied in my bedroom. See, the way people were scared, don't roll your eyes. The way people were scared of IELTS, I first heard about it from you, right? And then at the time, I didn't even know about the process to relocate to the UK. But you had sat it for another thing that you were doing, another process that you were doing. And then you were, oh God, hey, see, the things that I want to say is plenty. I have so many things to say. First of all, let me say that the people you surround yourself with, it really, really helps.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's a mistake that in my class in nursing school, although I was not the best student, I was the first person to relocate to the UK. I was the very first, yes. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I think you have a part to play in it. Because when I was doing my rotation, guys, I did my rotation at Tech Hospital. This is the guy I did my rotation with. He's not a nurse. He worked at the lab, okay? And as a fine babe as I am, we became friends, okay? We became friends. And this guy, he is so focused, and he wants to achieve like so many things in this life. So as at the time, he was working on relocating abroad, and he was now trying to instill the write your NCLEX in me and all that. So although at the time, he puts my mind in that direction. So he was now helping me to pass my IELTS. He came for me from the house, drove me to the library. Hey, some friends, and then he made the IELTS look so simple. I thank you for that, because do you know why a lot of nurses fail IELTS? It's not because they've not learned enough. It's because they've been told it's difficult, and they're told that you cannot do it. So even before they start preparing, they have like that mindset that they might not pass, and it affects you a great deal. When I was speaking with this guy, and the guy was like, so now that you want to start your nursing process, your relocation to the UK process, make sure you write the CBT first and then take time and write the IELTS, because as for the IELTS, if you don't take care, you fail. And I was like, I wrote it 2 weeks ago and I passed. I had 8.5. He was shocked. I'm like, he said, wow, how did you do it? And I'm like, no, like I had not heard that thing about IELTS that is difficult. You did not make me see like that. You made it look like, oh, if you learn, you pass. Like it's not a big deal. And that is the mindset I took, and then I passed. Obviously, I put in the hard work, and I have you to thank for it. You gave me loads, like a whole file of IELTS study materials.
Oh, and yeah, I remember.
Yes, it took bulk of my laptop space, but but like till date, other people you don't know, but other people are still benefiting from it, because I've shared these materials. I have a Telegram group. I've shared it there. Other ones that I got along the line, I've added it to it. But you are such a great person, and your wife is really lucky. And I'm so happy that finally you've granted me the opportunity to.
Oh, I'll let her watch this. Yeah, she's lucky.
So guys, I know this intro is so long, but let me just summarize. This guy is called Hilary. I know the name sounds like a female name, but he's a man. Yeah. And he's somebody I thank God I met, like I said, when I was doing my national service or my rotation, as you call it, in Ghana, he worked in the same hospital. He was a permanent staff. He was working as is it a laboratory scientist or a lab technician? Well, how do I say it?
Whichever one. I mean, Ghana, they call it so many ways, but the right one is the laboratory scientist.
Okay, so he was working as a laboratory scientist in there, and then we became friends, and he started motivating me to study and travel abroad and all those things. And yeah, here we are now, so many years after, and I've got an opportunity to interview you, and I'm so happy. The girls looking at him, he's married to a beautiful lady. So Hilary is a lab scientist who trained in Ghana, but currently practicing in the US. And he is so wealthy. He makes so much money. from practicing as a last. Now he's very
Not from the
retired.
lab.
Not from the lab. Okay.
I mean, partly,
It's
but
parts. Okay.
mainly not the lab.
Yeah. So, guys, today's video, if you know somebody who is doing medical laboratory, whatever, in school or has completed and has like the dream of relocating to the US or, you know, other opportunities for you guys in your field, this is the plug. So I'm going to squeeze all the information from him today in this video. Hey, Larry, your intro alone is 5 minutes. It has never happened on my Hey! You see how I like you, eh? You see how I like you. I've said all the things, but what did I leave out?
I mean, you basically said everything. The only thing is that I do not full-time practice lab anymore.
Okay.
I'm a clinical application specialist.
Whatever that means. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever that means. So maybe that will explain where the money is from. But before then, I was in the lab. I work as a medical technologist, registered, certified, they call it. So I have the MLS ASCP, which
MLSASCP.
that is the medical laboratory scientist, but the certification is from the ASCP. And that is the exam I went to write in Nigeria, I think somewhere 2014, 2015. And that was one of the reasons why I was mainly in the library studying, because, I mean, then the only place you can write it was outside Ghana. Now I understand there's a center in Ghana where you can write the exams.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I was in the lab for a while, I think for a few years with the University of Maryland Medical System. And as you know, I'm into so many things, IT, this and that and that. Yeah. So that led me into my current position as a clinical application specialist.
So first of all, if I'm in Ghana and I did medical laboratory science or whatever, and I want to travel to the US to practice like you were doing, what is the process like? What do I have to do?
So for coming to the US, there are so many different ways. Number one is because you are an international scientist or a foreigner, you have to be certified. Obviously, US is all about certification, and I'm sure it's the same in the UK. So you need to write the MLS, and depending on which country you are, you may be able to write it in your country or you write it in another country. And the next step will be getting sponsorship to come over. So the sponsorship can come from a hospital or it can come from an agency. So depending on which route you go, the agencies will have to file for you. It's a kind of visa. They have two different ones. H1B, which is like a lottery type. Pardon me, it's been a long time I dealt with such things, so you may have to do a little bit of research yourself to find out what's going on currently. But I still come across people who just went to the same route, so I believe it still works that way. So you get an agency and they require you to first write a certification exam. They just want to be sure that your knowledge is at the same level as those who are practicing it. Basically, that's all it's about. So you write the exam, and when you pass, then they will do the filing for you at the embassy. So it goes through the process, and when you are selected, then they will let you know you come here. And like I said, if it's an agency, it's most likely it's going to be contract based. So you sign a contract with them, you come, you work for them, but for yourself. I'm saying that because the money that you get, you don't pay the agency. The hospital pays you directly. Actually, they make everything clear to you, and the hospitals pay the agencies rather. And if you are brought here by a hospital themselves, then I mean, then everything is direct to you. But even if you work through an agency, some people have this idea that they'll be deducting money from, that thing never happens in the US. Nobody cheats anybody. You get your cents, you get every single dollar. And whatever you get depends on what kind of hospital you go and work, the states and order. So they bring you here, they give you accommodation. Obviously, they orient you to understand how things work over here. And when you work with them, at the end of your contract, if you want to renew, you are okay with them. You sign a renewal, you stay with them. If you do not want to stay with them, then you can apply to a different hospital whilst you work for the agency. So the hospital will take over your visa. Then after, I think, 5 years or so, then you can apply for a green card. And once you get a green card, then that's it. You are more or less like a free agent. You can choose where you want to work.
So that means you don't get, with nurses, when you're coming, you get your green card from the very beginning. It's not like that for you guys.
No, like I said, there are two ways. There's one that is the direct green card one, and there's one that is the visa one. All right. But the green card one is a little bit more difficult in the sense that they have a quota, like the number of people that they grant that green card to every single year. So when the hospital files for you, first you need to find a hospital willing to file for you, and you need to have that job offer. And I believe the hospital also have to prove that they searched in the US and they couldn't find somebody comparable before they pick you. And obviously, I mean, we are in short supply, just like the nurse, and the lab is the same. It's everywhere. Like there's shortage every single state. If you go to Indeed, then you type medical technologist, you see so many jobs posted few seconds ago. So the shortage is there. So when they file, if you go the green card, depending on the hospital where they want to take you through. Some probably because they don't really trust you. For people who are from Philippines, they have a strong system, even for the nurses and the lab. I would say more or less they manufacture health professionals over there. So the system is so clear for them. But for some countries, they are not so lucky. So it's easier for them to rather go through the green card route because everything is so clear than somebody coming from a different country that, I mean, they don't really come here that much. Then they want to take you through the contract based. So you come on a visa. So if anything goes wrong, I mean, they just cancel the visa and your appointment is over. Yes.
Okay. So the exam that I have to write, right? How difficult is it? And how do you get study materials to write this?
Difficulty is relative. It starts from...
We know you are a shark. We know you've got the brains. But for people like us, okay, like what's the pass rate? Like the normal people, like me, like what's the pass rate?
But basically, like I said, when you have the desire to do something, there's nothing like difficulty.
But what's the pass rate?
Like 60%. But I mean, once again, I do not want to go by pass rate. Let me tell you something. There's a certification exam I'll be writing on the 31st. I don't know when this video will be posted, so I don't even have to give a date. I'll be writing a certification exam in few days. Everybody says it's difficult, all right? So I decided to, okay, let me study for a while, do a trial test. You have 3 opportunities. Just do one and see what you score. Then you know how to study. Now I can send you the score. I got 98% after studying half of the material, not just because I'm a shark or whatever. I don't like doing things based on how people see it. It's doable. People are passing. Too many people just relax when they do something and they cannot understand. Like if you're studying something this way, like you're reading just test and you don't get it, you can watch videos. Maybe your own is audiovisual. Your own is somebody teaching you, or your own is doing it to understand. You just have to find your learning pattern and you can learn everything. Basically, that's how I see it. So it's not about whether it's difficult or not. The only challenge I see for somebody who was trained or went to school outside the US is that a lot of the things you'll find very new to you. Like mycology. Mycology, I never did anything remotely related to mycology when I was working at Tech Hospital. But I had to learn mycology to write the test. That would be the main challenge. But when it comes to basic things like hematology, chemistry, it's just like, whatever is it that you were trained, you were taught back in your school, it's the same thing. US is nothing strange. It's the same test material. You just have to revise. Obviously, you may have been out of school for a while. You just have to sit down and learn, and it's really possible.
Where did you get your materials from?
Mainly online. I do a lot of reading, like, to date. I still read. It's mainly online. I like to reach out to people, especially on LinkedIn. The part that you want to go, somebody has been there before. So just humble yourself and shoot somebody an email. And you'll be surprised the kind of people who will respond to you. Like random people, just read their profiles if they're doing what you want to do. So they gave me the guideline. They gave me websites where you go and read. Even people who have taken the exam, they write the exam, their experience, the materials that they used. So when you realize this person is saying, I read ABC, it was good. This person says, I also read the same ABC. Then you know the book is good. That's how I got my material. I didn't buy anything. Everything was PDF. I downloaded. I still have it to date. There are so many people who reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I don't know any of them. I can't even mention them, can't record their names. I just send it. I have a Google Drive with all those files on it. I just send it to you and also tell you to do your own research so you don't read things that you're not supposed to be reading because they keep updating the exams and everything. So just make sure you're up to date. That's all. It's not difficult getting the material. It's not expensive. The exam itself is not even as expensive. I think around $90 now. I'm not sure. And for people from some countries, especially Ghana, we pay less than the normal amount. Even if you're paying $100 for your future, what's the big deal?
How long does the whole process take averagely?
That needs a lot of patience.
Everything with US is long. Gosh.
Okay. Very long. Because I know of two guys now that have been grooming a lot of people back in Ghana. Those who actually reach out to me and they keep bombarding me with messages. I call them and I keep guiding them. I cannot give exact time because, like I said, the two main routes will be the green card or the visa route. Okay. And the visa one, the H-1B, is more like a lottery system. They have a quota they take every year. So if you are lucky, they can apply for you this year. Few months, they do the lottery thing, you are picked. Let me say 20,000 people apply and they pick 5,000. I don't know the exact number. And they pick 5,000. It's random pick. So if you are lucky and you get picked, then your own will be shot. But there are others that they try, so it can take a year, it can take 2 years, there's no guarantee. The ones that you may get a guarantee will be through the green card route, and that one probably an average of 2 years. So you need to have a lot of patience if you really want to come here. Yes.
Guys, if you are watching us and you can't wait for 2 years, come to the UK. Okay, the UK's process is relatively shorter. When you come to the UK, then you take your time and then do the US process. Like
that's what I will recommend. I have not been to the UK. No, I've not lived there before. I've visited there before, but I've not lived there before. But I can tell you for a fact, if you can do the US one, do it. You'll be amazed at the opportunities. If you are somebody who doesn't just settle for anything, choose US over UK. Just FYI.
What the hell do you mean by if you don't settle for anything? We those in the UK, well, we are offended. Now you said you are doing what? Clinical what?
I'm a national clinical application specialist.
What is that?
Okay, so one of the reasons why I'm sure there are similar opportunities in the UK. When you come and you work in the lab over here as a medical technologist, all right? The opportunities are a lot. In Ghana, it's just medlab, and it may be similar in other countries. I'm from Ghana, that's why I'm using Ghana. All we know is just the lab. I know so many people who have been in the lab for like 10 years, 20 years. All you can be is to become a senior technologist, a chief, principal, and all those titles. They are all good, but there are other jobs that come from whatever profession you're already in. There are nurses I work with. There are doctors who have left the field. So they are more like ad hoc jobs, just like what I do. You don't study my responsibilities. Okay, so basically I work for a medical device company. We manufacture medical devices. So they pick health professionals and they train them to train you. So we train our colleagues. So when I go and talk to a doctor about that medical device, because I've done anatomy, physiology, been in the hospital before, I know how they deal with patients and all that, I can better train the doctor how to use that medical device than an engineer who doesn't even know what a red cell is. Do you get me? So there are so many opportunities like that. So part of my responsibility, that's why I travel a lot. That's why I'm all over the world traveling up and down. Sometimes you go and work for just 1 hour and a lot of people do 9 to 5. Sometimes you don't do that much and you have a lot of time for fun and your family. I'm in charge of Maryland, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Delaware, and stop smiling. And I travel outside the country. So I've been to so many. Last week I was in Bahamas for like 3 days or so, just to train them on how to use it. So they go and do their own sales talk and everything. When the hospital buys it,
I'll get an alert how to use it.
Yes, and I also configure the instrument to make sure it's working as expected. Then I sign it off. Like you certify, you validate it.
So what kind of devices have you recently, worked on?
Mainly I deal with blood gas devices. It can be in the ED, it can be in the OR. Respiratory therapists use it. It can be in the lab. That's what we do a lot. And we also have glucometers. We have so many devices.
Wow.
So many devices. So like
Wow.
I said, sometimes every hospital and how they use that device. So depending on how they want to use it, they let me know and I come on site. Then you configure it for them. Then you let them know, hey, if you want to do it this way, this is how it works. And that's why I have a home office. When they have an issue, it's just a phone call or any of my laptops. We do Zoom and I
How
teach
much?
them what to
How
do.
much?
That's
How much?
basically that.
How much are you paid?
A lot of money. I cannot mention. I mean, far better than being in the lab, obviously. So,
100,000 a year? You're
I
living.
mean, it's not about money. Sometimes I say, not just for this video, but you know me, Nano. It's just the desire to go higher and higher. Like you reach here, you realize how you have the skills and ability that you can do much better. Why settle for this? So you just keep going. It never
Please,
stops.
how much? Like how much? Just give us a rough estimate. How much, like your income, so that maybe somebody wants, but they want to hear that figure for motivation.
For what? The med lab or what I do now?
The Medilab and this one. If you are comfortable, the Medilab.
Oh, I mean, for the I can talk of any. The only thing is that okay, maybe I didn't mention that. Even for the lab, you may be working with a colleague, you're doing the same kind of job, and the person is being paid more than you or less than you. In the US, you negotiate your pay. I don't know about the UK. You can negotiate. So somebody may be paid like 30 an hour, and they are okay. I know I'm worth 35. Just for an example. So that's how the pay range is for the medtech. And depending on your state, some states they pay higher because of the living cost.
Average.
I just told you for the lab is, let me say 35 an hour on the average. Okay. You can earn more if you bargain for more or you find yourself in a state where the cost of living is high. For what I do, averagely, once again, you bargain. Let's put it at let me say 50. Like what I said, it's good. Like if I had just remained in the lab, I will not lie about that. I was comfortable. I mean, even 35 an hour is still okay. That's not counting overtime and all those other bonuses. All right, that's just the raw pay. It's okay, and it comes with benefits, health insurance, covers you and your family. Tuition reimbursement. Don't forget that. I did my MBA. I paid no dollar. Everything paid for by the company.
Wow.
Yeah,
what is the difference between like being a medical laboratory scientist in Ghana and being a medical laboratory scientist in the? What's the main difference, would you say?
The main difference, I mean, there are a lot of differences. What really will stand out to be training. Because when you start in Ghana, they expect you to just hit the ground running straight from school, or even when you're a national service person. I don't know the situation now, but I mean, about 6 years ago when I was there, that's how the situation was. They want you to hit the ground running. Here, you get employed, that is it. Forget about whatever you know. Yes, you apply it, but they're gonna train you from start to finish. Nobody assumes you know anything. Even if you know it, they will still train you.
They'll still train you. Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
you make sure like we are all on the same SOP. We all do the same consistent things. If A does it and B does it, we get the same results. Another big difference is obviously we have a lot of instruments like Jan instruments. Ghana, a lot of the things were manual. Here, a lot of things are automated. The software auto verifies a lot of the results. So, excuse my words, they don't really do too much of brain work except following procedures. It's not like creativity. It's not too much processing in here. A lot of the things have been programmed into the software, unlike Ghana, that I'm sure is still very similar today, that a lot of things will have to be manually reviewed by a human person. I'm not saying we don't do human reviews here. The only thing is that the time that I will have to manually review something will be something abnormal. It needs attention. But when it's a lot of the normal things are automated, it doesn't take too much of your time. Another thing too is with the department here, the schedule when they make it, you rotate. So you have experience in hematology, microbiology, a little bit of urinalysis, a little bit of coagulation. Ghana, I mean, most of the time, it's the most experienced people who do particular things. So, I mean, you don't really get a lot of experience when, I mean, you are trained in Ghana. I mean, to be honest, probably it may be different now, like I said, because I've been traveling to Ghana a lot and I see a lot of improvement. So that's the one thing. And another thing is the pay, obviously, in Ghana is not the best. I mean, no.
What would you say the challenges are in the US as a medical laboratory scientist?
Challenges. As a medical technologist,
hey,
it comes down to
that means hey,
I mean, it comes down to you, the individual, like I said, because I think things are much easier here. Like everything is clear.
there are no challenges. Okay.
I mean, no, I'm not saying there are no challenges. I mean, I don't know.
So what would you say to people that want to be like you? Somebody's in Ghana, maybe nearly completed medical laboratory scientist program, or somebody has just completed, they don't know what to do with their lives, they're not even getting a job. What will be your advice? People want to relocate. What will be your advice to them?
Well, the number thing is read. Everything you want to know is online, like watching Nanel's channel. You get educated, you get to know everything out there. And I mean, you do a lot of researches and you get a clear plan exactly what you want to do, not just for the money. That's why I said it's not about the money. It's about what will make you feel fulfilled in life, which kind of thing that when you find yourself. So when you have that clear plan, then you consult people who have already gone that path. So they will, I mean, confirm some things that you may have found, follow their, I mean, advice on the best way to come. And like I said, you need a lot of patience too. You know, you need a lot of patience.
If somebody wants to reach to you, how do they do? If somebody watching me, maybe send me your LinkedIn, whatever, and then
mainly you can. I think the best place would be LinkedIn. Like I said, I've been consulting for a lot of people, helping them here and there. So a lot of the questions that you send, if you send it through LinkedIn, I can just copy and paste. You can just search Nana Kofi. Maybe linkedin.com/Nana Kofi or something, NANAKOFI. That would be the best place to find me. Or you can also do the same on Facebook, facebook.com/Nana Kofi, NANAKOFI.
Why not?
For Instagram and all those things, they are very private. I have to know you, you have to know me, I have to have your number, you have to have my number before we do those things. So those are social things. I mean, I'm a little bit private. But I mean, I'm open to help anybody. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer because a lot of people, I mean, I should give credit to a lot of people who helped me to come here. You know, I did a lot of research, a lot of inquiries here and there, so I'll be more than happy to respond to any inquiry. Whatever you want to find out, just ask me. And one thing you also have to do is that don't just focus on you want to be a nurse or you want to be a med lab scientist. Like I said, I know so many nurses doing so many different things. There's even this new thing, kind of health IT, like the software that I don't know which software you use at the hospital, but something like Epic, which is very popular in the USA, and I know a lot of European countries also use it. They pick health professionals and train them. So you may be a med tech, a lab scientist, you may be a nurse, but you have a little interest in IT. You can always aim of taking it a step further and you will end maybe far better, like what I do right now. I mean, I got into my position by accident, by other talent that I have or skills I have outside the lab. So think outside, like dream bigger, not just you want to be a lab scientist, you want to be a nurse, so you can. I mean, it's good. We still need professionals like that. But if you can go higher, just
why not
develop whatever skill that you have and go higher. Yeah.
Wow. I really enjoy this, and I'm very sure that a lot of people will benefit from it. And your inbox will be full on LinkedIn.
I mean, for LinkedIn, I can promise you always get a response in less than 24 hours because I do a lot of business talks there or professional communication over there. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Hilary.
don't know if you want to put this on record, but let me tell you, this particular lady, I hope she doesn't delete this part. The way we...
That's the part I'll delete.
You'll be surprised that this is the first time we are actually video calling. The way we are, the kind of fingers that has been pointed at me because of this particular lady.
He's a toothless bulldog. Toothless. But Hilary, it's worse because you're in the US and our time parted. But I know that even in the whole year, we don't talk. You send me Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. At least that one sentence, you try. Even if I don't hear from you the whole year, that one sentence, I'll get it from Hilary. And it's nice. I'm happy that I've seen your face after 6 years. Wow. Tell your wife not to worry, eh? Tell your wife.
She's fine. I'm happy to see you too. I'm happy for this.